Today I'll show you how to paint some apple blossoms. This is a tutorial from my Learn to Paint Watercolor Flowers pad from Strathmore. My pads combine watercolor paper with instructional materials and videos. They're still available and I've linked to them below, and I've altered my narration just a bit for YouTube. I've drawn outlines of the main shapes and other details lightly with a pencil. Since there is so much white in this picture, masking fluid was not really necessary. There are many areas I won't touch with my brush at all. I've just used a bit of masking fluid on the top right blossom. White flowers can contain a lot of color. If you look carefully, you'll see yellows, blues, and pinks, and those were the only colors I used for these blossoms. I like to move around my picture as I work. I'm going to wet down the small petals with water and drop tiny amounts of color onto the wet surface. The blossoms near the bottom are closed, so I'll be using more pink with those. A few springs ago, back at the old house, our apple trees were loaded with a ridiculous number of blossoms. I took a ridiculous number of photos of them. These blossoms are just starting to open, and I had fun painting the pink on the outer petals. The white areas in this picture are just as important as the painted parts. Working slowly and carefully, I'll continue to add small amounts of color to my flowers. I used a mixture of red, pink, and purple to create the dark shadows on the unopened blossoms. Now that I've established the soft colors, I'll add a few pops of bright color. Most of these are on the tips and edges of the petals and in the darker shadows. These intense colors will make the whites sparkle. I'm continuing to add color and refine the shadowy areas of the petals. As you can see, I'm still just using combinations of light pink, yellow, and blue. When I combine all three in different amounts, I'll get some interesting colors that are difficult to name. There are so many blossoms and petals here that it's hard for me to describe everything I'm doing, but hopefully as you watch this you'll get an idea of my process. I'm known for my bright, intense colors in my paintings, and every once in a while I like to paint white flowers or other items with subtle colors. And watercolor seems tailor-made for mixing pastel colors like these. Those have had a chance to dry, so I'm going over them with another glaze of slightly darker colors where I think they need it. These are the shadowy parts of the white flowers, so they can't be super dark, but just a few pops of darker colors will make the apple blossoms look more three-dimensional. I'm leaving some parts completely white and will not paint on them at all. They're really the key to this painting. See how those dark accents make the white parts seem even whiter? Most of these dark pinks were made with hot pink, magenta, alizarin crimson, and purple. This is a gorgeous range whose colors love to be mixed. In general, the left side of each flower is where I'm finding most of the dark shadows. I'm using a small round brush to add some more color. I'm working carefully and taking my time with this. I really try to study the blossoms before I paint them. I love adding pure hot pink onto these blossoms on the left side. It doesn't take much. I feel like I'm finished with these, so now it's time to start the background. I've wiped off my palette and have mixed a pretty yellow-green. The background is a fun blur of greens and other dark colors, and I've left a gap for the leaves in the center since those are a little closer to the viewer of this picture. They'll be more detailed. I've mixed some purple and brown into that spring green and I'm painting it along the top. I can also see some orange and yellow near the center, and I'm loading that section with a lot of purple and other dark colors too. They will blur together, and those indistinct shapes will truly seem far away. I always love defining the foreground shapes with a dark background color. I've skipped over a small chunk near the top left corner. I'm going to reserve that space for some faraway, unopened apple blossoms. And I've gone back to that spring green again and have added some deep greens and dark brown. Next, I'll paint a couple of in-between shapes. Then it's onto that big leaf in the center. First, I'll paint it with my spring green. Again, I always start with the lightest color I see, and then I'll build on top of it. Then I'll take care of some partial leaves nearby. Those faraway blossoms are very easy, just some blurry reds and blue. That big leaf has had some time to dry, so now I can hit it with some very dark green shadows, and I'll use that same dark green elsewhere in the painting. If I mix a color and I have some leftover paint, I like to find other places to use it. If I can't find a use for it, I tend to just let it dry on my palette. I can even save it for another painting session. Many watercolor artists never clean off their palettes. I do it for these videos, but you should see what my palette looks like normally. Honestly, it's a mess, but none of my paint goes to waste. Did you see what I did with the leaf? I painted a layer of darker green over most of it, but I didn't paint where I saw veins. This is called negative painting, and it just means you're painting around something. Time for some finishing touches. I'm using my small round brush to take care of the little details I think need to be darker. At this point, after looking at a reference photo for a couple of hours, I'm pretty familiar with it and can tell what part of my painting needs some attention. This was a tough little painting, and at 2 hours, it's really more of a sketch. I've decided to sell some of these little paintings I made for my Strathmore projects on my website, kellyeddington.com, at prices that are much less than what I would charge for paintings that would take a lot longer for me to complete. Please see the link below. And I also have links you can follow if you'd like to purchase my instructional watercolor pads from Strathmore online. They're in lots of brick and mortar art supply stores as well. Thanks a lot for watching.